Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Now we've got two wonderful local geriatric care managers who really are experts in the field. And I want to welcome Kelli Edwards and Karla Linder. And I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name before, but I will be sure to make sure it's correct now. And so Kelli and Karla, we are going to be having this wonderful conversation about what is a geriatric care manager, why would I hire a geriatric care manager, and how can they help me create balance in my life? So we're going to start with Kelli and Kelli Edwards. We just had Marcia on. Were you able to listen to that segment?
I was, Kim, and thanks so much for having us. I did hear her saying that we need to take time to breathe.
Yes.
And as care managers, we are professional caregivers. We need to remember that ourselves, and we try to promote that with the lives we touch.
That's
and help
wonderful.
them remember.
That's really good. So, Kelli, geriatric care managers, I mean, I know what it is, but there's so many people out there who do not and are now in a caregiver role that they never thought they would be in, because sometimes it can happen instantly, or they can kind of see it happening coming down the road and they're in denial, and then all of a sudden something else happens and they can't deny it anymore. I love geriatric care managers. I hired one when my mother-in-law was in the hospital because I just didn't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I know when I need help. And so I was wondering if you could explain for our listeners, what is a geriatric care manager?
Sure. Well, care management's a relatively new profession. It only came about in the 1980s. We have a professional association of national geriatric care managers. You can find out a lot of information at caremanager.org to learn about care management. And it's a group of professionals. We come from varying disciplines, but our main goal is to help enhance the quality of life for the senior. Or even we have clients that are mentally ill or challenged,
yes.
and we also have disabled clients. So it's not just the elder, but I will refer to that more than anything because most of our clients are elderly.
I remember when I worked at Freedom Inn at Tarpon Springs, and you were in that building quite a bit because you had several clients. And, you became a support system for the executive director, the director of nursing, because you were another set of eyes and ears. And, you were going to the doctor's appointments with our residents and how you would come back and be able to tell us what was happening. I mean, so supportive. What a great additional support to have for any executive director at an assisted living facility.
Right. Thank you. And it's so glad that you noticed that. But our goal is we're like the middle of the wheel with all these spokes coming out in every direction, because it gets very complicated for the caregiver. But we try to be the hub in the middle. We don't necessarily do all the parts, but we can direct you to the right spot to go. We help educate. After we've attended a doctor appointment, we make sure there's carryover from what happened there to what happens at home versus what happens at assisted living facility, and help connect the dots so it's effective for that person.
Because sometimes the medications have changed, maybe the condition has changed, maybe their blood pressure is different now, maybe there's some swelling. There's so many different intricacies that happen with a patient or a resident at an assisted living or someone who's living at home, and the caregiver just does not know how to get all that information. Maybe they can't make the appointment. This is a perfect opportunity to have a geriatric care manager be part of your team. So tell us what a caregiver should look for when they're looking for a geriatric care manager.
Well, Kim, I direct them to the professional website, first of all. A care manager, to be listed as a care manager on the website, you must be certified. To even become a member, we have to have 1,500 hours of supervised assessment and care plan coordination to become a member. And it's really important because the elderly can be vulnerable. And it's important that you pick a professional that follows a code of ethics and that has standards of practice that they go by. And that's really important, that you have contracting and you set up in a legitimate professional way.
So you had mentioned a website. What website would that be that a family member would look at?
Well, our website at Care Resources is resource4seniors.com, or our national website is caremanager.org.
Okay, that's really good, because then they can go and look, because it could be someone maybe not necessarily in this part of Florida.
Right.
Okay, and you said it's a national organization?
It is, and that's what we do. A lot of times we have families from up north that contact us, but also around Florida, or if you need a care manager in another part of the country, we can help with that. We attend conferences. We have to have 45 hours of accreditation to get recertified. So we stay in touch with all resources and feel that we give enhanced information to the caregiver and other people about what way to go.
Right. I know that you helped me when, as a caregiver coach, I had a client from Pennsylvania, and I called you when I didn't know where to turn.
Right.
So you were very helpful, and then it ended up helping the family a great deal, who were both in some were in Washington and some were in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I mean, it was a whole cycle over there. But, we were able to help them together as a team. Karla, I want to get you on here. So can you tell us a little more about, so that our listeners are getting, we're helping them connect the dots a little, what are the most common reasons someone would retain your services for geriatric care management?
Sure. I'd like to share a scenario, if I can, with one of my existing clients currently. She's in her 90s, and she lives in a skilled nursing facility here in Pinellas County. And she came to us, unfortunately, because she was a victim of elder abuse. Her attorney mishandled her finances and wasn't making her financial obligations for her the way he, had an ethical and contractual responsibility to do so. And Department of Children and Family Services got involved, and a referral was made to Chart Your Own Course. And she became one of our clients. And obviously the attorney was prosecuted and handled appropriately within the scope of the law, but our responsibilities with her are to follow up on her care, see that she's getting her needs met. We advocate for our clients. We go in and assess our clients from, a functional, physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, a social standpoint, financially and economically and legally, and make sure that they have all the documents that they need in place. And we really make an assessment and recommendations based on our observations and our interview with the client, and make a determination as to what are their goals. And so a big part of our responsibility is to make sure that we're advocating for our client and seeing that their needs are being met and that their goals are being met, so that she has the most enhanced and improved quality of life that she can.
So I want to just give our toll-free number in case anyone wants to call with questions. Our number is 1-877-897-8255. Again, 1-877-897-8255. If you have any questions you would like to ask Kelli and Karla about geriatric care management, we welcome your questions. So, that sounds kind of like, I have to tell, I'm going to be so authentic on this show because I know you guys can handle it. What if there was a messy case? That kind of sounded like it was a little messy, a little outside the boundary, but, it was all it felt a little like, okay, we got it all neat in a package. What would be a messy case? Because a lot of people come to me when the cases are pretty messy, Kim, help.
Sure.
How do you kind of work as the spoke then? How do you work as the central? You didn't want to be a spoke. You want to be the center of the spoke.
Right.
Tell me how, as a center of a spoke, you can, and we have about 2.5 minutes, how do you really help that mess become a little more organized or manageable?
Well, we prioritize the needs of the client and make recommendations based on that. One of the major things that we do is we act as an extra set of eyes and ears in coordinating care, following up, making sure that physician's orders are followed through at the facility in this instance. Not all of our clients are in a facility, but this one happens to be. And we really work to improve care transitions. So as we age and our medical situation becomes more complicated, oftentimes individuals are moving to the hospital to have emergent situations met, and then back to the facility. And that's a key place that we interact, because a lot of times if you're not following through to make sure that what's being ordered at the hospital is being followed through with, the condition of the individual can continue to decline. So that's something that we we really work hard
or someone
at.
moving from their home into a facility.
Yes.
Also, these are the places where things could fall into the cracks and where you pick it up and you run with it and make sure things are smooth.
And if I could add, Karla, one of the things we do for the messy, it's very important how you start out, that you have a solid assessment, but we have HIPAA release forms, so it entitles us to look at their chart and advocate for them. But I'd say messy, sometimes, unfortunately, there's blended families. There's two, I could tell usually within 5 minutes, you know, we have two sets of family.
Right.
So you have to be clear who has the power of attorney, who is a responsible party for this person, and then set the ground rules right off so you can help and advocate, and then educate all the people in their system. Really, it's a lot of education and a lot of advocacy, and then helping them navigate through all that.
But just like we were talking before about catching your breath with meditation, this is catching your breath as a caregiver, having an extra support system to help you, who's can be more objective, who's not going to be interfering their opinions or their desires or have a motive. This is someone who can really be more objective and really help you move ahead. And I love that you use the word advocacy, because sometimes we need advocates. When we can't be there, you can be there for us. And that's giving our loved ones a voice. And that's always so empowering. We have this this great partnership really with Caregivers Resource and Chart Your Own Course, which is part of Care Resource. And we wanted to thank them for being our sponsor for the whole show today. And our guests, Kelli Edwards and Karla Linder. We want to continue our conversation, though. Karla, we were talking about someone retaining your services, and maybe, I don't know if it's who's going to answer this, it's Karla or Kelli, but tell us a little more about maybe someone getting your services and then also bringing in the Medicaid piece, because we've got probably about 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you an example. Hopefully it'll pull together different ideas and scenarios of what we do. I had a client, I started out with her, and unfortunately, but it's often during decision-making, crisis, transition times of someone's life. The daughter was here with her, lived here part of the year, and she went into a diabetic shock, and which signified she was having other problems going on as well. And she was in the hospital, and the case manager there told her about care management, and we talked. And at that point, she went to Health South for rehab and was coming along okay, but the daughter had to return home. Very educated, very caring, but just couldn't be here at that time. So she went back home, and my client lived in a mobile home. She eventually returned back to that home, very alert, very oriented, but had a hearing impairment that made communication a challenge. And she had, you know, her strength was weakened initially. So we put a homemaker companion. That was one referral in there. We put a lifeline button for safety.
Good.
She knew she could call us. We're on call 24 hours a day, so she had that safety. And then I would always visit one time a week and keep everybody in her life apprised of how she was doing. I attended the doctor appointments and built relationships there.
Right.
So, you know, you figure out the way that they communicate best so you can get information that you need. And she initially felt that with the hurricane planning that we did, being in the mobile home, the years, I've been with her for 5 years now, but with that worrying about what to do, we always had a plan. We, you know, coordinated the paperwork needed to get her in somewhere if need be. But she just got to the point that she felt like she didn't want to keep cooking, and she wanted more supervision at night if she needed it. So she's an independent living now.
That's great.
She does most everything for herself except the medication management and ordering. So we have a nurse who comes in and does that, and can check her vital signs once a week and everything. And she has the homemaker still for the quality of life things. She helps her do laundry. They do one-on-one. They run errands together.
So she still does the laundry, but the companion does it with her. That's wonderful.
And that's her choice. And she's wonderful and has a plan for every day. She's a wonderful person. But things like coordinating her lab work where she lives without having to go out.
Right.
Making sure then that the doctor gets the lab work that's needed. And then communicating with the correct nurse. We're having more trouble nowadays getting certain medications to go through. You need an override. You need different types of things done. So we help facilitate to make sure the whole plan takes place. Same with when she was in the nursing home care. I make sure I attend care plan meetings there because it's so important. You get that one glimpse in time that you can speak to all the professionals involved. It's very hard to get all the pieces in there. So
yes, so being the advocate for them is so important.
And just helping her to feel like she's empowered.
Yes.
It is her decision. I'm not the decision maker.
Right.
It's her, or if she's unable, it's her healthcare surrogate. But we try to keep them as informed as possible so they feel like they're making good decisions, not scrambled or, oh my gosh, which way should I go? They have time. They can talk with us. And if need be, we can get them more information to help them make a better decision.
Well, so much came up for me as I'm listening to your story. And one of the things that comes up for me is how you are giving caregivers, the long distance caregiver, the daughter who had to leave, peace of mind.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. She was torn, I'm sure. Do I keep mom here? She's in the mobile home park, having difficulty with hearing. Maybe she needs to come up north with me. Definitely number one question. And I can hear on the other side, no, we want to keep mom independent. This is her home. This is what she's familiar with. She doesn't want to live up north. She wants to be down here. How do I make that happen? And you are the answer, because she would not, there was nobody else to make that happen. And now you've given this woman what she wants, which was one of the things you said, Karla, earlier, is we always ask them what it is that they want. And being able to let her have that is giving someone their quality of life and having a voice in their life.
Right. And part of that's the financial planning too, which Karla is so good at, and we're so glad to have her as a resource. But, we help them understand the financial aspects of what this means. So if Karla wanted to.
Yeah, if you could tell us for about a minute or two, that would be great. And then I have some announcements. So please do, Karla.
Well, we handle the Medicaid application process from beginning through approval. And if anybody's been through that, they know it can be a very overwhelming process. And we're very proud at Chart Your Own Course Limited Company that we have 100% approval history with all the clients that we've done this for. We do it for existing clients, and we do it also as a standalone service for clients out in the community that hear of us and get referred to us. And we also do it for some facilities, actually.
That's great.
But another piece of that is reviewing the benefits that a client may have, helping them understand, because it can be very confusing, and making recommendations, or to Kelly's point, referrals, because as a care manager, for instance, in our company, Chart Your Own Course, combined care management, there's 86 years of experience if you added up each of the care managers' tenure in the industry. So that's a lot of resources available to our clients that might be difficult on their own to access. So, it was a service that we started to offer our clients because it complemented the geriatric care management portion of our business. And we're so happy to be able to offer it at a very affordable to our clients. And if they need, legal advice, then obviously that's a portion of the Medicaid process that we refer out.
Okay. Why don't we give us your contact number? Because if I was a listener, I'd be like, okay, give me your number. So how do I get in touch with you?
Sure. Our office number, we're located locally, is 727-842-3344. And as Kelly mentioned, as care managers, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we take pride, obviously, in getting back with people in a very prompt manner. And we also have a website you can visit, www.resource4seniors.com. Or you could Google Chart Your Own Course and find us that way as well.
Well, again, we want to thank you so much for being our guest today. You've given our listeners such important information. And when someone calls you, I hope that just mention that you heard about us, heard about them through the Caregiver Hour, and that'll be very nice, because everyone likes to know how you heard about them. Every business wants to know, so that way they'll getting some information back. So I want to thank all of our guests, Kelli Edwards and Karla Linder from Chart Your Own Course with Care Resources. And again, we want to thank you so much for being our big sponsor for this whole show. Again, this show is every Monday, and I'm here for an important purpose, and it's really to help caregivers create balance in their lives. I just met two caregivers this week who are just overwhelmed with what's going in their lives. They never thought they'd be caregivers, and now they are. And someone actually moved from California. Now he's here local to help his mom, who just had a stroke. She's doing well, but he decided to move close and be nearby her. And then I met someone else whose parents are elderly, and they are going to need your services. So we're so thrilled to have you here today and bring it all together under one roof at one radio show, the Caregiver Hour. So have a beautiful week, and maybe try some meditation and catch your breath. I'm Kim Linder, your host of the Caregiver Hour. Tune in every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on 1250 WINS WHNZ.